Yep, another week, another struggling week for Detroit sports. Like, the Wings and the Pistons were pretty bad this week. Like, it's kind of sad when the Tigers were the best team in Detroit this week, and the Tigers are wrapping up preseason. That's kind of fucking pathetic and sad. But yeah, Justin, the Red Wings season has now really gone downhill. After so much promise throughout the early parts of the year, only for a complete and utter collapse. Like, that's just honestly embarrassing. But yeah, let's take a look at how Detroit sports fared this week.
Detroit basketball!
Nothing really else here to see from the Pistons. Still tanking beyond the eye can see. They go right back to their tanking ways. And just go right back to tanking, as now they're right there to be the worst team in the league, where they'll probably get shafted to the 4th or 5th overall pick in the draft lottery. Here's the good news, Piston fans. There's only 8 more games of this nightmare season left before it's finally over. Thanking fucking God. Less said about this season from the Pistons, the better. Like, the only bright spot has been Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. And James Wiseman has shown some potential this year, so there are some pieces on this Pistons team that should show some promise, maybe not in the future. But honestly, a lot of this potential really doesn't mean anything until we get the right coach that can get this team over the hump. Because we got the young talent to get the job done. The Pistons just need the right coach, because it sure as hell ain't Dwayne Casey. So hopefully in 8 games, we hand Dwayne Casey his pink slips and tell him to fuck right off. But yeah, only a little more ways to go until this nightmare of a season is over. Well, the Tigers preseason is finally wrapping up. And so the Tigers season, it starts up Thursday when they play in Tampa Bay. So yeah, really for the Tigers season this year, I don't really have many expectations. Like to be perfectly honest, I think they're going to be probably contending for 4th or 5th in the division, because they're nowhere near the top 3 in the division. Like, they're nowhere near competing with Cleveland or Charlotte or even Minnesota. Like, we're probably contending with Kansas City to see who's in the basement of the division and who doesn't end up in the basement. Like, more than likely, the Tigers are probably tanking for a top draft pick in next year's draft. Where maybe the Pistons will have good luck in the draft lottery during the winter meeting for the 2nd year in a row. I mean, they had good luck in the lottery last year for the draft coming up in the summer, where they ended up going to the 3rd overall pick. I don't know, maybe lightning strikes twice, but honestly, I have really no expectations for this Tigers team, because this Tigers team is so fucking deep in the hole from how bad Avila fucking botched the rebuild. Because now the Tigers are effectively rebuilding on top of the rebuilded damage and rubble that Avila left the team in. Because Avila dug this team in so far a hole, it's going to take a few years just to even dig out of it. And the only way they truly dig out of it is if Chris Ilitch actually does the right thing and stays the fuck out of day-to-day operations, keeps his grubby little hands away from player personnel decisions, and he lets the baseball people he fucking hired do the goddamn work. Because Chris Ilitch, notice how when you take a hands-off approach to the Red Wings, the Wings always tend to be better than the Tigers. But when you take a hands-on approach to the Tigers are just an embarrassing shit pile in MLB. But yet the Red Wings are actually decent when you don't take it, when you have your hands off of it. Funny how that works. Like, honestly, you should just look at the Bagulas as another example, Mr. Chris Ilitch. Because the Bagulas, they took a hands-on approach to the Bills, and the Bills have been a massive shit show until this year. While the Bills, they take a hands-off approach there, and the Bills have been a Super Bowl contender. But yeah, Chris Ilitch, Miss Mike Ilitch would be disappointed in you taking a hands-on approach to the team. But yeah, I honestly have no expectations for the Tigers this season. I am going to do some hate series 100%, do a few vids there, but not going to be as many as there were last year, that's for sure. But yeah, Tigers season starts up Thursday, so at least we'll have one other distraction away from the embarrassment from the Pistons until Lions football season starts up in September. And this Red Wings season, it looked so promising early in the year. Like, it looked like maybe this was the year the Wings were finally going to take that next step forward and get back to the playoffs. And in the end, everything came crashing down. Just, yeah, the last month or so when it looked like the Wings were about to make it into the playoffs and have a late season surge, last couple weeks went downhill. This week was no exception. A loss to Florida, and then a shootout win against St. Louis, only for St. Louis to win the following game, and then getting shut out by Philadelphia and getting swept by the Flyers in the season series. And yeah, and with this week, for the first time this season, the Wings are now below 500 and have a losing record for the first time all season. So yeah, after all season of the Wings being so consistent and staying above 500 and showing a lot of progress, it all comes crashing down. Always say it's for the Red Wings. At least you currently have the third best prospect pool in the league, behind New Jersey and Anaheim, respectively. So at least you have that going, but yeah, it's gonna be waiting a few years until some prospects come up, and the Wings will probably make that prospect pool a lot better with the draft capital that they got from the Hronek and Bertuzzi trades. To add on to that, including the 4 first-round picks they have in the next 2 years. And it's how good Steve Yzerman has been at drafting, that's going to increase that pool even more. Maybe the Red Wings finally get some lottery luck on their side, maybe, but I have my doubts. Just, yeah, pretty rough week. At least Simon Edvinsson's getting some experience in the league for right now, to get him warmed up, because Simon Edvinsson is more than likely going to be playing next year for the Wings. Honestly, next year, I think it's time for Simon Edvinsson. I think it's time we call him up. I mean, other than that, the prospects have looked very promising, too. Especially Adeus Lombardi, who just set the Flint Firebirds some single-season franchise points record. So, yeah, congrats to Lombardi there on that one. On holding the Flint Firebirds points franchise record there, so congrats to him there. But, yeah, just, pretty rough. Just been pretty rough last month or so. Last couple weeks after everything looked so promising for the Wings, only for it all to come crashing and burning down. Just, yeah. All I say is Steve Yzerman still got his work cut out for him. Even though the Wings have been collapsing, they're still in a way better position than they were last year with Jeff Blashill. But despite any progress the Wings have made this year, they still got a ways to go from competing. But yeah, like Steve Yzerman said, though, he wasn't going to rush this thing and not take any shortcuts. They're going to stay the course, and it's going to be full of a lot of pains and a lot of ups and downs. It's not going to be a quick turnaround like it was with the Lions, where the Lions have quickly all of a sudden retooled the team, and now the Lions are one of the brightest one of the top teams in the NFC. In the NFL, so... hey, a lot, sports rebuilds are a lot different from one another. NFL rebuilds are a lot different from NHL or NBA or MLB ones. Every sports rebuild goes differently. You're not gonna rebuild things as quickly as the Lions unless you have the right people. The only way you rebuild as quickly like the Lions did is you have every single star in the cosmos align in your favor. And the Wings have had all but about one of those stars align. They were able to get some good prospects, despite having shit draft lottery luck. But thank God Steve Yzerman knows how to get fucking good talent, because at this point, I don't really care where the picks fall for the Wings in the draft lottery. Because it doesn't matter where those picks are. Because Steve Yzerman's going to go out there and he's probably going to get the next best player behind Connor Bedard. So, yeah. Because, yeah, that's just a mistake of how much of a crapshoot the draft is. Honestly, out of everyone in the draft this year, the only sure thing looks like Connor Bedard. Everything else, it's just a crapshoot. But, that's the mistake of the draft. Usually a lot of players that go later in the draft tend to do better than those taken earlier than them. Like, drafting a player high in the draft doesn't guarantee anything. It just guarantees high expectations. That's it. But yeah, you know, just I might do a video talk about some of the Red Wings prospects coming up in the ranks and giving my honest thoughts on all of them coming up. Like, I am gonna be starting NFL draft previews coming up. You know, for the Lions draft, you know, target, you know, the main things the Lions should target in the draft, and some players to keep an eye on for sure, and some players to avoid. And I will be recapping the Lions free agency since the free agency window has died down, and I think it's time to recap that. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of content coming out this week. But yeah, just, you know, a promising Red Wings season goes down in flames. Like, the progress is there, but they still got a ways to go.